Hello, ladies. Thank you for everybody that joined. Thank you for everybody that private messaged and responded. It was exciting to see your messages. It is New Year's Eve, and even though, like, it's not real New Year's Eve, right? Spring equinox is, in my beliefs, the real New Year's, when the winter's over and this spring is a blooming. But I do feel like it is a transition time for me, in like the death of the old and the birth of the new. I was scrolling on Instagram, and the rewilding, I don't know if you guys have heard of Rewilding by Sabrina. What's her last name? Oh, I can't think of her last name right now. But she has like a program called The Bones and Rewilding. And the little meme that she had was like, think of 2025 as a phoenix in stilettos. And I was like, oh my God, that's so aligned with like Sparta. And somebody responded, I think it was Vanessa. Vanessa responded that she got like Queen of Swords energy, which I'm not super familiar with the tarot. It's something that I've wanted to like play in, but it's not really my thing. But I'm gonna look up the Queen of Swords, and I keep getting the inkling to print out a Queen of Swords and put it up on the altar as like a representation. So today I did like cleaning up. I wanted to freshen this space. I just moved. I just moved a lot, actually. For those that don't know, I went from my house in Clearwater in August. I packed it all up and rented it out, and I headed to Idaho. My intention was to be in Idaho, and I got to Idaho and I was like, I can't stay in Idaho, for various different reasons. So I headed back to Florida, but I've been road tripping, and I went from from Florida to New York, from New York to Idaho, from Idaho back to New York, and from New York back to Florida. And now I'm living in Palm Bay, Florida for the next 6 months, and we'll see where I go from there. But with that said, I'm in a new place. It's a furnished place, and it is not aesthetically pleasing to me, and I don't want to spend money on making it that when I know I'm going to go. So what I have done is spent a lot of time organizing and reorganizing things to make it feel more homey for me. So that's what I was doing today, and because I wanted to bring in that newness, that new energy. I was like, okay, Spirit, God, Source, Universe, higher me. What can I do in here as like, it's like, what's the word, like symbolism, or I can't think of words, man. Words are hard for me these days. Anyways, I was like, what can I do in this space to like clear it out? And I got throw salt in each corner. So I walked around and prayed my house, and with the salt shaker, and just salted each corner to like, salt is cleansing and purifying. I was saying purifying and cleansing in the same word. Cleansing. I was cleansing my place. I was purifying and cleansing the place, and bringing in a higher vibration. And it went so good. That was good. I vacuumed. Well, my son vacuumed. I had a really good chat with my boy. My boy's 13, for those who don't know, and his father and I haven't been together since he was little. And last year, we decided he'd go live with his dad, and it's been so hard for me. And on Friday he goes back, and now his father's taking me to court for custody. So that kind of is what really lit the fire under my ass for Sparta year. Like, yeah, there are things that I want in my life that I kind of been in like denial about wanting, because it requires me to step up and do more and go into places I'm uncomfortable. And with this court thing, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's time. Like, fire under my ass. I will become more disciplined. I will become more focused. I will put in the work to create the life that I want. And I will get custody of my son. And I will no longer require any child support from that man. And and so it is. And so it is. So this is part of what stepping up is creating the purge and doing the uncomfortable things and sharing and being seen. So in alignment with that, I was like, all right, my daughter has a different father. He's actually really involved in her life, unlike Noah's dad all his life up until now. So she's with him, and that's why we live in Palm Bay, so that she could be closer to him. And I have kind of like the night to myself because Noah just wants to hang out with his friends on the computer. So I was like, okay, what can I do for me? Which is like new, like what just for me. And yesterday, I joined this business school. And one of the things that she was saying was like, to get real, like some of the money blocks are about being in denial. And like, get real with yourself. Where in your life is it not what you want it to be? And like, you know, where are you just like waiting for the blessings instead of like working for the blessings? It kind of reminds me of, what's that story of like the guy that's like praying to God that he's like drowning and he needs help, and a boat comes and he's like, no, God's gonna save me, and then a helicopter comes and, you know, throws the line down. And I'm probably butchering the story, but like, you know, and he's like, no, God's gonna save me, and then he drowns and dies, and he's like, no, God, what the fuck, like, where were you? And he's like, I sent you the boat, I sent you the helicopter. You know, it's kind of like in that line of thinking where I want this certain life, and I'm like, come on, God, like, what is it? But he sends things, and then I'm like, oh, but I don't want to do that. Oh, but I don't want to do that. And I can't commit to that. And oh, that's not really right for me. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I hope that makes sense. I hope I get better at this as time goes on. Anyways, so I was like, what am I going to do for me? I'm going to journal. I'm going to journal about what my life is showing me about my beliefs, right? Like most of us already know that we're creating our lives through our beliefs. And one of the most humbling things that I've learned in this past year of my coaching with Emfrey and Lori is the super humbling. I've just been super humbled, where often I'm not where I think I am. And I say I believe things up here, like cognitively I believe it, but my life is not reflecting that, which means that I have not actually embodied that belief. So I'm just talking. I'm just saying I believe these things. But if my life is not actually reflecting what I'm saying, then I get to look at my life as the data to show me what it is I actually really do believe. So there are a couple of questions that Coach Mami Unami was asking. Onami, I think it's Onami. That she was asking that I'm going to spend some time journaling that. And I'm inviting you guys. I don't know what you guys are doing tonight, if you guys have any plans, or what you're doing tomorrow, or whenever you watch this, right? Like, sit down, take a look at your life. And where is what you think you believe not matching up with what's actually showing up in your life? And write it down. Or speak it out. Get on here and share with me, like, you know, I thought I believed that I'm abundant, but I actually am struggling to pay bills. Or, you know, I believe, you know, and there's so many nuances in that. So I'm going to pause for a second. Because abundance doesn't necessarily mean dollars, right? Abundance, the best thing that I've heard about abundance is like a river flowing. Abundance is not something you're stacking up in a bank account. It's the movement of all that is, right? We are abundant in air, we are abundant. So it doesn't necessarily mean dollars and cents. But if I believe that, like, oh, I got money, but then I can't pay my bill, then I don't got money. Or if I believe that, like, I'm worthy of love, but then I don't feel loved by people, well, then I don't really believe that I'm lovable, right? So I'm going to sit here with myself and take an inventory about what it is that I really believe from the data that my life is showing me. So what's an example of that? There are good men out there. I believe that. Like romantically. Because I'm actually having a really nice experience with my father and my stepfather, my father, and my brother, and some other men in my life where I truly feel like appreciated and loved. And that's a new thing, right? So some belief has shifted in me where now I'm experiencing that. One of the greatest things of this year has been feeling like a little sister. All my life I always felt like I was the big sister, and like how do I say it? Like if I wasn't the one looking after him, then I don't matter to him. And my brother calls me every day now, multiple times a day. And I don't even ask him for things, but he'll be like, oh, I sold you this, or I sent you that, or like he's just thinking about me. He's always thinking about me now, which is wonderful. And I feel like a little sister. And I wanted that feeling for a long time. So I'm excited that I shifted that belief. I believe that I'm worthy of love from men. When it's not romantic. When it's not in romance. So yeah, I'm going to sit and play with that. And while I was looking for a notebook to do my journaling in, I was reading through this notebook I found, and I'm like, geez, I'm always doing this work. Like all the things, name it, to claim it, to change it. I just have all these ideas written down, and then I don't execute, or all this work of like discovering and just consciousness work. It's really interesting. I have some raging on a page, and then I found this, which I'm going to read to you guys because I liked it. I wrote, I used to have days when the poetry poured out of me naturally, instinctively. I can recall those days where this inner silence fed me these melodic incantations. Everything I thought and spoke had a rhythmic quality. Where is that part of me? Buried in the rubble of broken dreams, smeared with the blood of a heart once more ripped open. Welcome back, sweet surrender. These moments of loss, of raw vulnerability, are the moments that are heaven sent. I'll repeat again. These moments are heaven sent. When there's nowhere to turn but in, where there's nothing left to hold on to, and you have to let go if you want to thrive and do more than just stay alive. That's the last thing that I wrote in here, and here I am again. Oh, I caught it. It was about to fall. It was good. I'm going to end with that, because here I am again, reaching for more, getting super uncomfortable and vulnerable, and giving it everything I got. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's Eve and Happy New Year to everyone. And I love you. Kim, thanks for being here. I love you, girl. Bye.